This is my Friden STW10, and I actually have 3 of them, but only this machine is actually working. And one of the other things I have in my collection that goes with it is this operating instructions and suggestions manual. So I figured it'd be a fun maybe series to go through some of the lessons in this so we can learn how to actually operate the machine together. So starting here, it gives us an overview of the main components of the machine, as well as a few basic arithmetic operations to get familiar with using it. So we can start up here on this moving carriage with the what they call the upper dials and lower dials. So the upper dials, which I usually refer to as the accumulating register, is 20 digits long, and just a couple of them end up hidden over here behind these moving decimal points. And then down here we have 11 in the lower register. So for what we're doing today, the upper dials will show us the results of products and sums, and the lower dials will keep count of the number of operations that we've done. And we can see that. So if we press the plus button, it counts up. We have it aligned here in the 4th column, right? And then if we press minus, it'll count down, right? And the other thing it'll show in the lower dials is quotients from division. So we enter the dividend into the upper register or the upper dials, and then we put the divisor on the main keypad or main keyboard, and then we'll get the quotient in the lower dials. The other section over here is for multiplication, and it's where we enter our multipliers and control how the multiplication is carried out. And in a later lesson, we'll dive into how that all works. Then we have our main keyboard, or the large keyboard they call it, which is most of the main number entry is done here. And then we have our control buttons over here. How the main keyboard works is each column is a single number, and it aligns to the carriage. And depending on where we align the carriage in relation to it, and then you enter a value in. So with nothing entered in a column, it's a 0. And then as you press the numbers, you're assigning a value to that. So this column would be the number 4. If we press another number, you can see the 4 pops back out, and now that column is a 9. We can clear the columns individually down here with these buttons, all at once with the keyboard clear, as you can see here. And as well, we can lock values in if we pull these up. So now we can't change those ones. And if we do have numbers in there and lock them in, when we clear the keyboard, those ones stay down, right? And we can, right, so we can't change those values. So yeah, it's kind of the basics of things. So let's just zero everything out, and we can look at our first lesson. And so you can see up here, the instructions are for a machine with the add key in the down position and all other keys in the up position. So this is our add key over here. With the add key in the up position, if I put some numbers in here and then add, the main keyboard stays in its previously assigned state. It doesn't clear out. As well, as long as I hold down the button it'll continue to cycle the operation, right? So I actually did 11 total. When I pull the add key down, no matter how long I hold down the button, it will only have done it once. That's same with the subtraction key. And you could see after each operation, the keyboard automatically clears. Of course, if we locked in some values again, you can see that those stay locked. But yeah, so that's what the add function changes. So we want that in the down position. And then we're going to do, starting with a multiplication, we're going to do 25 times 0.48. And we will get the answer of 12.00. So place a decimal marker to the left of the dial or column as indicated below. So on the keyboard, left of column 2, and on the upper dials, left of column 2 as well. So our upper dials, move that one down. And then on the main keyboard, we have these little decimal flags, and we can clear them all out using this here. So left of column 2, so that's going to be our decimal. And now we'll have, like tenths, hundredths, hundreds, tens, ones. And you can actually see the keyboard is color-coded in that format as well, because these were pretty heavily used in accounting. So it makes sense to have like 2 digits of decimals for dollars and cents kind of thing. And what are we doing? We're doing 25 over here in the multiplier, and then 0.48 on the main keyboard. And we're going to multiply. And we can see our expected result is to have 12.00 in the upper dials and 25 in the lower dials. Right? So that's all correct. And we're going to follow that up with a division operation. So we're going to do 258 divided by 12. And so we can clear out the decimal point on the main keyboard. We're going to add one in on the lower dials because that's where our result for a division will show up. And the other thing is we're going to push tabulator position number 2. And so what does that do? Well, if we look at how division works on this, we need to put a number into the upper dials, and then we divide by the value that we're adding onto the keyboard. It's essentially doing repeated subtractions. And so if we just use the plus button, so if we clear out the carriage here, and we just add a value in up at the top, it adds in wherever the carriage is aligned, right? So in order to get it to where we want it to be, we would have to move it over, and now we have it aligned to where our decimal points are. But then the other problem is we're cycling up on the lower dials as well. So if we clear that out here, it'll also clear out our top number. So then we'd have to do something like unlock the carriage clearing and then just clear the lower dials. And yeah, it's a bit of a fuss. So rather than doing that, we set a tabulator position here, and it gives us the automatic alignment when we use our enter dividend function. So 258 is the number we're going to be dividing. So we enter that, and you can see it's automatically placed into alignment with our 2 decimal places. If we set that over here, can see it's actually aligned to the third, but we want it here. And then we're going to divide by 12. So we enter 12 into the main keyboard. We hold the right division button and then click the left one. And we now have our result, which is 21.50, and that's correct. So we can move on to our next problem. And we're going to end up with we're going to end the lesson with an addition and then subtraction. So to start with, we'll set up the machine. We do a carriage clear. And we're going to be doing 1,467 plus 1,954. And because we don't need any decimal places, we can clear all these. And then start with our first number. So 1,467. Add that in. Then 1,954. Add that in. And we can see we've added two numbers, and our result is 3,421 on the upper dials. And then we're going to finish off by subtracting 1,756. And we'll end up with 1,665 in the upper dials. So let's do that now. 1,756. And there it is. So yeah, that's just some basic operations on the Friden STW10. And I think on our next lesson we're looking at doing expanding on the addition functionality of the machine. And so stay tuned for that. Thank you for watching.